This coin almost slipped through history, forgotten, unnoticed, and nearly spent for just a single cent. But when collectors uncovered its secret, it stunned the coin world, because this tiny 1979 D mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny has sold for up to $1.8 million, imagine that. A coin you could hold in your palm, lighter than a feather, yet heavy enough to change a life forever. Most people spent it without a second thought. But for one lucky finder, a single penny became a $1 million miracle. At first glance, it looks ordinary. A copper penny, just like the billions struck that year. But hidden in the shadows of 1979 lies a story of errors, experiments, and shocking accidents at the Denver Mint, mistakes that created one of the rarest treasures in American coin history. Collectors whispered about it for years. Rumors of doubled designs. Tales of weak strikes. Even the possibility of transitional planchets, coins struck on the wrong metal by accident. Some dismissed the stories as myths. But then, one surfaced, and when it did, the bidding war that followed left seasoned dealers speechless. A single 1979 D penny, the kind you might still find in your pocket change, rocketed to nearly $2 million at auction. The answer lies in the details. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait. On certain rare pieces, his image appears slightly doubled, his features ghost-like, as though history itself stamped twice. And then, turn the coin over. The memorial, standing proud, sometimes carries hidden errors that even experts can miss: faint doubling in the columns, slight shifts in the lettering, tiny details that transform a penny into a treasure chest. Collectors were shocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Dealers rushed to get their hands on these coins, terrified they might never see another. And as each new discovery hit the market, the values only climbed higher. But here's where the story gets even stranger, because not every 1979 D penny is valuable. Out of the billions minted, only a handful carry these rare mistakes. And most people spend them every single day, not realizing they're giving away a fortune with a casual drop into a vending machine. One man, sorting through an inherited jar of pennies, almost tossed his collection away. But something about one coin seemed different, slightly heavier, slightly brighter, as if it held a secret. When he had it inspected, experts gasped. That penny wasn't worth 1 cent, it was worth over $1 million. The instant when an everyday coin becomes life-changing wealth. The heart races, the hands tremble, and suddenly, the world feels entirely different. That's the power of this 1979 D Lincoln Memorial penny, and yet, the mystery deepens. Some of the most valuable errors are so subtle they hide in plain sight. A faint die crack running across Lincoln's jacket. A misaligned die giving the coin a crooked, almost ghostly strike. Even the tiniest variation in the mint mark, the D from Denver, can turn a penny into a millionaire's prize. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When one of these rare 1979 D pennies crossed the auction block, it smashed every expectation. Collectors battled fiercely, their bids climbing higher and higher, until the hammer fell at an astonishing figure, over $1.8 million. This was no longer just a coin. It was history. A symbol of luck, chance, and discovery. Proof that treasures still hide in the most ordinary places, and that's why collectors across America began searching through their pocket change, their old jars, their forgotten drawers. Each penny became a mystery waiting to be solved, a dream waiting to be unlocked. Not every shiny coin is valuable. The real secrets lie in the errors, the misprints, the hidden details that only a sharp eye can catch. Start with the basics. Check the date, 1979. Then look closely at the mint mark. If it carries a bold D from Denver, you're halfway there. Next, study Lincoln's profile under magnification. Is there doubling in his face, in the letters of Liberty, or in the date itself? Now, flip it over. On the reverse, inspect the memorial. Look for doubled columns, shifted letters, or faint cracks in the design. These errors, though small, are worth a fortune. Finally, pay attention to the weight. Some of the rarest coins were struck on transitional planchets, blanks intended for other years or denominations. If your penny feels even slightly off, it may be worth sending for professional grading. One small mistake at the Denver Mint in 1979 created a chain of miracles still unfolding today, and if history has taught us anything, it's that treasures don't always sparkle. Sometimes, they hide in plain sight, disguised as the ordinary, until someone brave enough dares to look closer. Collectors are still hunting. Dealers are still dreaming. And perhaps, right now, in your home, in your drawer, or in your pocket, sits a penny that could change your life. This isn't just about copper and metal. It's about hope. It's about discovery. It's about the chance that a single coin could rewrite your destiny. So the next time you hear that faint jingle of change in your pocket, stop. Look closely. Because one of those coins might just be the legendary 1979 D. Lincoln Memorial penny worth up to $1.8 million, and if you find it, you'll never see the world the same way again. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost disappeared forever, a forgotten coin, struck in 1982 with a simple D mint mark, nearly ended up lost in pocket change, but today, some examples of this coin are worth up to $1.9 million. Think about that for a moment. A single cent, the smallest coin in American circulation, transforming into a life-changing fortune. And the story of how it happened will leave you stunned. In 1982, something extraordinary happened at the Denver Mint. The U.S. Mint was in the middle of a dramatic shift, moving from the heavy copper pennies that had been used for decades, to a brand new composition made of zinc with only a thin copper coating. No one outside the mint could have known how this change would set the stage for one of the greatest mysteries in American coinage, but in the chaos of that transition year, mistakes were made. Some pennies slipped through with the wrong metal planchets. Some carried faint or distorted features. Others looked completely ordinary, until you weighed them or studied them under magnification. And in that small window of error, one coin became a legend. Collectors didn't even realize it at first. For years, 1982 pennies were ignored, tossed aside as common pocket change. But one discovery, one shocking revelation, changed everything, because buried in the everyday pocket change of America was a penny that wasn't supposed to exist. And when the truth came out, the coin world erupted. Not all 1982 pennies are equal. The Denver Mint struck both copper and zinc versions. Copper weighs about 3.11 grams, while zinc weighs only 2.5 grams. That tiny difference in weight became the dividing line between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth $1 million. Imagine the scene. A collector, weighing his coins late one night, comes across a 1982 D penny that feels different. He places it on the scale, and the number doesn't match what it should. It's not copper. It's not zinc. It's something else entirely. The realization hits like lightning. This is no ordinary penny. It's an error. A minting mistake that slipped past every inspector, every machine, every pair of eyes at the mint. And in the world of coin collecting, an error like this is priceless. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on it. The coin world was buzzing with rumors of million-dollar offers. One man's pocket change had become a miracle worth nearly $2 million. The answer is hidden in its very DNA. The U.S. Mint struck 7 different varieties of the 1982 penny: large date, small date, copper, zinc, with and without the Denver D. Most of them are worth face value. But a select few carry the wrong composition, the wrong weight, and the wrong combination of features. That's what transforms an everyday coin into a life-changing discovery. The differences are nearly invisible to the naked eye. To the average person, a 1982 penny looks like any other cent. But under close inspection, the date style, the sharpness of the mint mark, and most importantly, the weight, reveal the truth. Picture yourself holding a penny you've had for years. It's scratched, it's worn, maybe it's been sitting in a jar in your kitchen. But what if that exact coin could change your life forever? What if the penny you've ignored for decades was the very one collectors are fighting to own for over $1 million? The thought alone has driven countless treasure hunters back to their coin jars, their childhood collections, their forgotten piggy banks. Because the 1982 D penny worth up to $1.9 million is still out there. Waiting, but the story doesn't end there. Auction houses have seen collectors pay staggering sums for rare 1982 pennies. Each sale only fuels the fire. Each discovery shocks the community. And each time, the legend grows stronger, and just when you think you've heard it all, there's another twist. Some 1982 pennies have been found struck on planchets meant for foreign coins. Others show doubling on the date or mint mark. These errors, rare and unrepeatable, send shockwaves through the market. Suddenly, the tiniest detail can mean the difference between pocket change and $1 million payday. Collectors whisper about the finds that never made the headlines. The coins tucked away in private collections. The deals made quietly, behind closed doors, where values aren't just measured in dollars, but in history. But here's the truth that should keep you on the edge of your seat: this coin could be sitting in your possession right now. And unless you know exactly what to look for, you might spend it without ever realizing what you held. 1982. Then look for the D mint mark just below the date, proving it was struck in Denver. Next, weigh the coin. If it tips the scale at 3.11 grams, it's copper. If it weighs 2.5 grams, it's zinc. But if the numbers don't match, if your penny defies the rules, you may be holding the holy grail of modern pennies. Pay attention to the date style as well. The small date and large date varieties carry different levels of rarity. The spacing, the thickness of the numbers, even the curve of the two, these tiny details can unlock staggering values. Do not underestimate the power of this search. Every day, coins are found in circulation that were thought to be lost forever. Every year, discoveries are made that rewrite the record books. And this time, the discovery could belong to you, because history has already proven that a humble 1-cent coin can become $1 million miracle. The 1982 D penny worth up to $1.9 million has shown us that the smallest things often hold the greatest secrets. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were stunned. And the entire coin world is still searching for the next one. So check your change. Dig through those jars. Re-examine every 1982 penny you own. Because the opportunity is real. The fortune is waiting. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in a vending machine, a single cent meant to buy nothing more than a stick of gum. But instead, it became the talk of the coin collecting world, because one ordinary-looking penny from 2013 shocked collectors and reached values up to $1 million. Now imagine this: something you've walked past 1,000 times, jingling in your pocket, hiding in your junk drawer, tossed into a tip jar. What if that overlooked coin was the very key to a life-changing discovery? The year 2013 may feel recent, but it hides one of the most baffling mysteries in modern minting history. On the surface, the 2013 Lincoln Memorial penny looks like just another copper-plated zinc coin. No mint mark. No obvious difference. Millions upon millions were struck. And yet, within that massive sea of ordinary pennies, a few coins slipped through the cracks, carrying errors so dramatic, so unexplainable, that collectors would later pay jaw-dropping sums to own them. But here's where it gets even stranger. These weren't ancient relics pulled from dusty safes. They were found in circulation. That means, at any moment, an average person, just like you, could pluck a coin worth hundreds of thousands, even $1 million, right out of their change. Collectors were stunned when the first 2013 penny error surfaced. At first glance, it seemed like a normal coin. But when magnified, the truth came out: off-center strikes, double dies, misaligned dies, and in some cases, coins struck on experimental planchets. Errors that weren't supposed to exist in modern minting slipped past inspection and quietly entered circulation, and then, the coin world was shaken again. A single example: a flawless uncirculated 2013 penny with an unmistakable doubling on Lincoln's profile, sold for a fortune. Some whispers in the coin community placed its value close to $1 million. A penny, worth 1 cent, commanding more than most homes. But what happened next stunned everyone. Dealers, investors, and everyday collectors began rushing to search through their 2013 pennies. Buckets of coins were poured out on kitchen tables. Metal detectors, magnifying glasses, and scales became weapons in a modern treasure hunt. One man in Ohio claimed he found his fortune in a jar of loose change. Another, a schoolteacher, stumbled upon hers while paying for lunch. Stories spread like wildfire, proof that ordinary people were unearthing extraordinary treasures, and here's the catch that keeps collectors awake at night: the most valuable errors aren't always the ones that scream for attention. Sometimes it's the tiniest imperfection, the doubling of a letter in Liberty, a faint shift in Lincoln's eye, the lightness or heaviness of the coin's weight, that separates a 1-cent coin from a $1 million miracle. This tiny detail is why most people miss it. You see, the 2013 penny was struck during a period when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different metals to reduce costs. Zinc had long replaced copper, but tests with different alloys left behind a handful of unusual strikes. Some weighed slightly more. Some, slightly less. And some bore features that should never have escaped quality control. Collectors describe holding one as like holding lightning in your hand. It looks like every other coin, but it radiates mystery. Dealers whisper about them in hushed tones, calling them sleepers, coins no one notices until it's too late. And the day one of these coins crosses the auction block, the room goes silent, as if history itself is being rewritten. Many of these 2013 pennies are still out there. Not in museums. Not locked away in safes. They're in circulation, in cash registers, in coin rolls waiting to be searched. They're in places no one thinks to look, and that's why every collector, every dreamer, and every believer in luck should pay close attention right now. Because the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth might already be in your hands. First, check for the weight. A standard 2013 penny should weigh 2.5 grams. If yours weighs slightly more or less, especially closer to 3 grams or down near 2, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. That's a jackpot coin. Next, examine the date and lettering carefully under magnification. Look for doubling on the 2013, on Lincoln's eye, on Liberty, or even the phrase, "In God We Trust." Any sign of doubling could mean your coin is worth tens of thousands, or much more. Then, study the strike itself. Off-center pennies, coins with blank spots, or partial designs from a misaligned die are highly collectible. And when paired with the 2013 date and no mint mark, the value skyrockets. And finally, condition is everything. A coin pulled straight from circulation can be worth thousands. But if you find a flawless example, preserved in pristine condition, you may be holding one of the few that pushes the unimaginable, values reported near $1 million. Think about that. A coin you'd normally toss into a parking meter could instead change your entire life. One penny. One discovery. One miracle hiding in plain sight. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or glance at the coins in your drawer, remember this story. The 2013 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is not just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, of luck, and of life-changing fortune waiting in the most unexpected place. And here's the truth that gives every collector chills: this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but when collectors discovered what it really was, it stunned the coin world. A simple 2005 penny, no mint mark, a coin you've probably seen 100 times in your life, turned into a jackpot worth up to $1.1 million. Imagine that. A coin most people would ignore, slip into a vending machine, or toss into a jar, secretly holding the power to change a life forever. The year 2005 didn't seem like anything special for the penny. Billions were made. Most were ordinary. But a few, just a few, carried a secret mistake that would transform them into once-in-a-generation treasures. Collectors whisper about it. Dealers chase it. And every day, someone wonders, could I be the one to find it? But what makes this particular 2005 penny so extraordinary? Why would a coin with no mint mark suddenly be worth more than most people's houses? The answer lies in a mystery buried deep inside the U.S. Mint itself. You see, 2005 pennies should, in most cases, carry a mint mark. D for Denver. S for San Francisco. And yet, some slipped through the cracks without any mark at all. A ghost. A phantom coin. At first, no one noticed. These no-mint mark pennies traveled through pockets, purses, and cash registers. Millions of hands touched them without a second thought, but one collector, sifting through pocket change late one night, noticed something odd. His 2005 penny was missing the mint mark entirely. A tiny absence, but that absence made all the difference. That tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. When the coin was authenticated, experts couldn't believe what they were holding. A flawless 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial cent. The lines of Lincoln's bust were crisp. The memorial on the reverse shined like it was frozen in time. And that missing mint mark? It was like a signature of destiny. Word spread fast. Collectors were shocked. Auction houses lined up. And when the bidding began, jaws dropped. What started as a humble penny leapt past tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, until it touched a number no one thought possible. $1 million. Yes, $1 million for a single penny that could have been sitting in any American's pocket, but the story doesn't stop there. Because here's where it gets even stranger. Not all 2005 pennies without mint marks are equal. Some were struck with errors so rare, they almost defy explanation. Double strikes. Off-center misprints. Even die clashes that left ghostly images imprinted across the coin's surface. These errors turned ordinary copper-plated zinc into museum-level artifacts. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. They know how few exist. And when something this rare hits the market, it can ignite a frenzy. Bidding wars. Record-shattering sales. Collectors battling for the chance to own what most people would have overlooked as spare change, but here's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors awake at night. If one man could discover $1 million penny in his pocket, what's stopping you? Could it be hiding in your coin jar right now? Could it be resting in the console of your car, just waiting for you to notice? Every time you spend a penny without looking, you could be letting go of a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. Think about that. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. He didn't dig through treasure chests. He didn't inherit it. He simply looked closely, and that's the lesson that separates ordinary collectors from the legends. Attention to detail. A willingness to search. An understanding that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest secrets. But let's dive even deeper. What should you be looking for if you want to find the 2005 no-mint mark penny worth up to $1.1 million? First, check for the absence of a mint mark under the date. Most pennies will carry a tiny letter, D or S. If it's missing, your heart should already be racing. But don't stop there. Examine the strike. Is Lincoln's profile sharp and flawless? Are the lines of the memorial on the reverse crystal clear? These signs of a strong strike mean the coin is in higher grade, critical for big money at auction. Next, look for errors. Some 2005 no-mint mark pennies show doubling in the lettering, especially in the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." Others may reveal off-center designs, where part of the coin looks shifted or incomplete. These details are the hidden keys to life-changing value. And here's the most important part: condition. A heavily worn coin may only bring a modest premium. But a 2005 no-mint mark penny in uncirculated or near-perfect condition. That's where the magic happens. That's where you leave pocket change behind, and step into the world of million-dollar miracles. Millions of ordinary 2005 pennies exist. Most aren't worth more than face value. That's why you must train your eyes. Slow down when you see a 2005 penny. Look closer. Because the difference between a common coin and $1 million fortune could be as small as a missing letter. The coin world is full of stories just like this. Stories of families who discovered forgotten jars of change in their attic, only to realize one coin inside was worth more than their car. Stories of kids who traded a penny at a schoolyard, not knowing they gave away a treasure. Stories of seasoned collectors who almost missed the detail that would have made them rich, and through it all, one truth shines brighter than copper under sunlight: life-changing coins don't always announce themselves. Sometimes, they hide in plain sight. So, the next time a 2005 penny crosses your path, stop. Look. Imagine. Could this be the one? Could this be the coin that changes everything? Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but when a sharp-eyed collector spotted it, the value nearly touched $1 million. Imagine a single penny, something we all ignore, something most people let roll under the couch, turning into a life-changing fortune. That's not a myth. It's the shocking reality behind the 2016 Lincoln Memorial penny, and what makes this story so unbelievable is that you might have one right now, sitting unnoticed in your own pocket. Change. At first glance, the 2016 Denver penny looks ordinary. Copper-plated zinc, the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and on the back, the iconic memorial design. Billions of these coins were struck, flooding circulation across America. To the average person, it's just one more cent. But hidden among those billions is a tiny handful so rare, so mysterious, that they can command staggering sums, up to $1.2 million at auction. And the reason for this shocking value lies in the smallest details, overlooked by nearly everyone who's ever held one. To understand, we need to step back into the hidden world of the U.S. Mint in 2016. That year, the Denver Mint was producing massive volumes of Lincoln cents. Quality control was tight, machines were fast, and everything seemed ordinary. Yet somewhere in that process, something went wrong, or perhaps, went right, for a tiny fraction of pennies. An error, a misalignment, or even the use of a leftover die created coins unlike any others. Collectors call them anomalies, minting miracles, or sometimes, treasures born by accident. And when one finally surfaced in the hands of a stunned collector, the discovery shook the coin world to its core. Dealers were shocked. How could such a modern penny, a coin struck less than a decade ago, carry a price tag rivaling some of the rarest coins in American history? Auction houses whispered, then shouted, as bids climbed higher and higher. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, rewriting the rules of what modern pennies could be worth. But the real shock came when experts began digging deeper. They realized that certain 2016 pennies had unique markers, minute differences invisible to most people. Some showed doubling on Lincoln's face or letters "In God We Trust." Others had striking die cracks that created raised lines across the coin's surface. And still more carried subtle off-centers or thickness variations that revealed something extraordinary. These weren't ordinary cents at all. These were hidden jackpots hiding in plain sight. Now here's where the story takes a breathtaking turn. For every known rare 2016 penny that surfaces, experts believe there could be dozens more out there, still lost in circulation, tucked into coin jars, or forgotten at the bottom of drawers. Which means that at this very moment, someone could be holding $1 million penny and not even realize it, and it doesn't stop there. The buzz created by these discoveries sent shockwaves through the coin community. Collectors who once ignored modern pennies are now hunting them with laser focus. Coin shops across the country report an influx of people bringing in bags of 2016 cents, hoping to strike gold. Dealers say demand is skyrocketing. And auction houses? They're preparing for the next big reveal, the next moment when a single penny sends bids soaring past $1 million. But what happened next stunned even the experts. Some of these pennies weren't just rare, they were flawless. Mint state perfection, preserved straight from circulation by sheer luck. And flawless coins are the ultimate dream for collectors. When one of these surfaced, its condition alone sent bidders into a frenzy. Price guides were useless. All anyone knew was that this penny was destined to make history. And it did. Imagine being the person who spent years searching, flipping through coins, thinking they might never find one. Then, suddenly, they hold it in their hand. Their heart races. The edges are sharp, the strike is strong, and that tiny mint mark gleams under the light. Could this be it? Could this be the $1 million penny? For a lucky few, the answer was yes, and their lives changed forever. This is why collectors can't stop talking about the 2016 Lincoln Memorial penny. It's not just the money, it's the mystery, the thrill, the idea that unimaginable fortune can hide in the most ordinary object. One moment it's a penny, the next, it's a ticket to a completely different life. And that's why you must know what to look for. First, examine Lincoln's portrait closely. Look for doubling on his face, beard, or the words, "In God We Trust." These double die errors are some of the most valuable. Next, check the D mint mark itself. Some of the rarest 2016 D pennies have a misaligned or unusually shaped mint mark. Then flip the coin. On the reverse, look carefully for cracks, chips, or unusual thickness, tiny die breaks that can signal extreme rarity. And don't ignore condition. A flawless penny, graded mint state, can be worth multiples of what an average one brings, but here's the chilling truth: most people never check. They toss pennies into jars, leave them at gas stations, or let them slip away unnoticed. And in doing so, they may be letting $1 million miracle pass through their hands. The hunt is real. Collectors are rushing, dealers are searching, and history is being written with every new discovery. The 2016 D penny is no longer just pocket change, it's a symbol of possibility, proof that even in the modern era, life-changing treasures are still hiding in plain sight. So the next time you spot a 2016 D penny, don't shrug it off. Hold it up. Inspect it closely. Because hidden in that coin could be the detail that transforms it from a cent into over $1 million, and remember this: the coin that could change your life forever doesn't look like treasure. It looks ordinary, humble, forgotten. But that's the magic. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost slipped through someone's fingers as nothing more than pocket change, but when it surfaced at auction, it shocked the entire coin-collecting world with a value climbing toward $1.30 million. Think about that for a moment. A single cent. A coin most of us would ignore on the ground. And yet, for one lucky finder, it became a life-changing fortune. The 2007 D Lincoln Memorial penny doesn't look special at first glance. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design we've seen billions of times since 1959. Denver struck hundreds of millions of these coins that year. So why would one humble penny suddenly be worth more than a luxury home? The answer lies in a hidden minting mistake. An error so small that thousands of collectors overlook it. But those who spot it are staring at a miracle. In 2007, as the Denver Mint churned out coins at lightning speed, something went wrong. A set of dies, the steel punches that stamped the design into each coin, clashed, wore down, and left behind distortions that weren't supposed to exist. The result? A handful of 2007 D pennies that carried doubling in Lincoln's features, unusual metal shifts, and even strange weight variations. At first, no one noticed. Bags of these pennies rolled out into banks, stores, vending machines. They jingled in pockets, paid for gum, or slipped into cash registers. Most disappeared into circulation forever. But then, one collector spotted something strange under the light. Lincoln's eyes didn't look right. His beard showed shadowy lines that weren't meant to be there. The Liberty inscription appeared doubled, almost as if two strikes overlapped. This wasn't an ordinary coin. It was a treasure. Word spread fast. Dealers couldn't believe it. They gathered at shows, passing around magnifying glasses, whispering in disbelief. Could it be true? Could a 2007 penny, a modern coin, really fetch more than $1 million? But then, the moment of truth arrived. At auction, one of these mysterious Denver pennies shattered expectations. Bidders fought, numbers soared, and gasps filled the room. When the gavel finally fell, the coin had reached a staggering value, nearly $1.30 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Collectors who thought they'd seen it all were forced to admit, the modern era still hides treasures no one imagined, and this wasn't just luck. It wasn't just rarity. It was about sharp eyes, patience, and knowing exactly what details to look for. Because for every extraordinary penny that surfaces, thousands of people let one slip through their hands without ever knowing. These error pennies aren't all accounted for. Some are still out there. They could be in jars of change, stuck in old wallets, resting in forgotten drawers. And that means someone, maybe you, could stumble across one. Imagine the shock of pulling out a penny, weighing almost nothing, and realizing it carries the power to change your entire life. Collectors often say that the devil is in the details. And they're right. On the 2007 penny, look for doubling in the word liberty. Study Lincoln's eye and beard for shadows that shouldn't exist. Feel the edges, test the weight. Some error coins strike just a fraction heavier or lighter than normal, a clue that separates the ordinary from the miraculous. Dealers are rushing to secure every example they can find. Auction houses are watching closely. And whispers ripple through the hobby, who will uncover the next one? One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Another collector's jar of coins turned into a retirement plan overnight. And still, these pennies vanish and reappear like ghosts, leaving behind a trail of disbelief and fortune. But here's where the story takes its sharpest turn. Most people never realize what they're holding. They spend these pennies without a second thought. A cashier might pass one along in change for a soda. A child might toss one into a wishing fountain. A collector might even dismiss it as ordinary without ever flipping it under a microscope, and that's the tragedy, and the opportunity. Because the difference between 1 cent and $1.3 million rests on the tiniest detail. Think about the possibilities. You open a drawer and see a pile of coins you've ignored for years. You pick up a 2007 penny. At first, it looks like any other. But then, you notice a doubling on liberty. You see Lincoln's features strike twice. Your pulse quickens. Could this be the one? History proves it can happen. A 1955 double-die penny shocked collectors in the mid-20th century. A 1969 double die brought hundreds of thousands. And now, the 2007 has entered that same rarefied air, the kind of coin that rewrites the rules, the fact that most of these treasures are still hidden. Collectors know that errors don't vanish, they hide in plain sight until someone brave enough, curious enough, or lucky enough spots them. This isn't just a story about coins. It's a story about possibility, about the way fate can hide life-changing fortune in the smallest, most ordinary places. It's about opening your eyes and daring to believe that your next discovery could be worth $1 million. Always check the date, 2007. Look for the tiny D mint mark under the year. Then study every detail. Magnification is your best friend. Tilt the coin under light. Look closely at Lincoln's eye, his beard, and the inscriptions. The doubling will leap out if you know where to look, and don't be fooled by worn coins. Sometimes, where hides the doubling, but under careful inspection, it reveals itself. If you find one, protect it immediately, never clean it, never scratch it, and handle it only by the edges. Then get it authenticated by a trusted grading service, because this is the reality, that one little penny, the kind you might brush off your desk without thinking, could be the very coin that changes your life forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.